Welcome to our journey into the tiny world of cells. What does your hand, a leaf on a tree, a pet and a tiny insect have in common? They are all made of tiny building blocks called cells, and today, we're going on a microscopic ride to learn about them. First question we have today is, what is a cell? Think of cells like these Lego bricks. One single brick isn't much, but when you put many of them together, you can build incredible things, a house for instance. In the same way, one cell is a tiny unit of life, but trillions of them working together make you and every other living thing on Earth. Every part of our body is made up of cells. Cells are the smallest building unit of living matter. All living things are made up of cells that can be seen with microscopes. These cells use energy from respiration to build the spare parts and repair themselves. Now, let's shrink down and take a tour of a typical animal cell. It's like a tiny factory, with different parts doing different jobs. These parts are known as organelles. What is the function of each organelle? We have four main organelles which we are going to study, and they are cell membrane, cytoplasm, mitochondria, and nucleus. First, we have the security fence. This is the cell membrane. It is flexible and very thin. It holds everything together and controls what goes in and out of the cell. Inside, it's filled with a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. This is where all chemical reaction happens, and all the other organelles float around in it. These are the mitochondria. They are the powerhouses of the cell. They take food and turn it into energy for the cell to use. Think of them as the cell's batteries. And here's the most important part, the boss's office. The nucleus. This is the control center of the cell. It contains DNA, which is like the instruction manual for how to build and run the entire organism. Pretty important. Plant cells are similar, but they have a few extra features. These features are cell wall, sap vacuole and chloroplast. Plants have a super strong cell wall made of cellulose outside their membrane. It's like a rigid suit of armor that gives the plant its structure, so it can stand up tall. Plant cells have a huge vacuole. It's a storage sac that holds sugary solution and keeps the plant firm. When your plant is wilted, it's because it's lost water from its vacuoles. And these green things, these are chloroplasts. They look green because they contain a green substance called chlorophyll. This is where plants perform photosynthesis. An important note that you must not forget is that some other plant cells, like root hair cells, do not contain chloroplast because they are under soil, so they do not receive sunlight. So, to recap, both animal and plant cells have nucleus, cell membrane, mitochondria, and cytoplasm. But only plant cells have a cell wall, chloroplasts, and a large sap vacuole. Now to our following question, what are the specialized cells? In animals and plants, there are many cells. Each cell is specialized for doing a particular function. Cells are adapted to do their jobs, which means that cells with different function have different structure. Remember the golden rule, structure is always related to function. Animals have many specialized cells including red blood cells, ciliated cells, and nerve cell. The red blood cell is the oxygen courier of your body. Its function is to carry oxygen from your lungs to all your organs and tissues. Now, look at its structure. It has a bioconcave shape, thin in the middle and thicker at the rim. This shape gives it huge surface area to absorb oxygen quickly and makes it flexible to squeeze through the tiniest capillaries. It has no nucleus. This frees up more space inside to pack with hemoglobin, the red pigment that actually binds to the oxygen. So, its structure is perfectly designed for its function, to carry and maximize oxygen transport from your lungs to all your organs and tissues. Next up, meet the ciliated cell, the dedicated janitor of your airways. Its function is to keep your breathing tubes, The trachea, clean by sweeping mucus and trapped particles, like dust and bacteria, away from your lungs. The key feature is, of course, the cilia. These microscopic hairs beat in a coordinated, wave-like motion to sweep the mucus along. These tiny hairs are damaged by smoking, which causes the buildup of mucus, leading to the well-known smoking cough. Now for the communicator, the nerve cell, or neuron. Its function is to carry electrical impulses, or messages, rapidly around the body. This allows us to sense, think, and move. The long axon is like a fiber optic cable, allowing messages to be sent over long distances, from your spinal cord to your toe. The dendrites have a huge surface area to connect with and receive signals from many other neurons. Switching to plants, we'll now look into the root hair cell and the palisade cell. Let's look at the root hair cell. This cell is a plant's water and mineral miner. Its function is to absorb water and mineral ions from the soil. Its most obvious feature is that long, thin hair-like extension. This massively increases the surface area of the cell, making absorption of water and minerals much more efficient. It's a perfect absorption machine. They lack chloroplast as they are found at the bottom of the plant that grows underground where there is no light. And finally, the solar panel of the plant, the palisade mesophyll cell. Its function is the magnificent process of photosynthesis, making food using sunlight. These cells are column-shaped and packed tightly together near the top of the leaf. This positioning means they are perfectly placed to absorb maximum sunlight. Most importantly, they are packed with chloroplasts. These are the organelles that contain chlorophyll, the green pigment that captures light energy. More chloroplasts mean more photosynthesis. Their structure and location are all about maximizing light capture for their function. Now that we have covered the basics of the cells, we can move on to the next matter. The organization. We will now explain how organisms are organized and how to tell all these different parts apart. Some organisms, like amoeba or bacteria, are unicellular, meaning they are just a single cell. But we, and the plants and animals around us, are multicellular, made of millions, even trillions of cells. And not all cells are the same. They come in different shapes and sizes for different jobs. Now, what happens when cells of the same type that perform a similar function work together? They form tissues. It's like a team where every player has the same position. For example, when lots of muscle cells join together, they form muscle tissue, which allows us to move. Other examples include nervous tissue for sending signals, or xylem tissue in plants for transporting water. The next level up is where things get really interesting. Different tissues work together to form organs. An organ is a structure made of at least two different types of tissue that work together for a specific job. Our biceps are a perfect example. It contains muscle tissue to contract, nervous tissue to control the muscle tone, and bone to hold on to. Its specific job is to move the arm in different position. Your stomach, brain, and lungs are all organs. In plants, a leaf is an organ for photosynthesis. Organs don't work alone. They team up with other organs to form organ systems. A system is a group of organs that work together to perform a major complex function for the body. The heart teams up with blood vessels like arteries, veins, and capillaries to form the circulatory system. And finally, all of these systems work in perfect harmony to form the final level, the organism. That's you. That's a cat, a dog, a tree, a butterfly. An organism is a living thing that can carry out all the basic life processes, like nutrition, respiration, and reproduction. It's the sum of all its parts, from the tiniest cell to the largest organ system, all working together. Let's do a quick recap. Cells are the building blocks. Similar cells form tissues. Tissues combine to form organs. Organs work together in organ systems. And systems form a whole organism. Let's take a plant example. Cells like palisade cells. These form tissues like mesophyll tissue. Tissues form organs like a leaf. Organs work in systems like the shoot system. And that makes the organism, the entire plant. Use the functions given to identify the parts. Where photosynthesis happens, chloroplast. B. Contains genetic information. Nucleus. D. Rigid to support the cell, cell wall. C. Draw lines to connect the parts to their correct functions as listed above. Cell membrane. Controls the movement of substances into and out of the cell. Cytoplasm. Jelly-like substance, where chemical reactions happen. Mitochondria. Where most respiration reactions happen. Note: the function contains genetic information is for the nucleus, which is missing. Look at the labels. It has features of both cell types. It is like a plant because it has chloroplasts for photosynthesis. It is like an animal because it has a flagellum for movement and no visible cell wall, only a cell membrane. The answer is, it is difficult to classify because it has chloroplasts like a plant cell but can also move using its flagellum and hunt for food like an animal cell. A. Identify the structures labeled A and B. A is the long, thin projection. B is the cell membrane. B. Describe one way you can tell that this is a plant cell and not an animal cell. Look at the diagram. The most obvious feature is the rigid, rectangular shape, which is caused by the cell wall. So the answer is, it has a cell wall, which gives it a regular, rectangular shape. Alternatively, it has a large permanent vacuole. C. Which cell structure, usually found in plant cells, is missing from hair root cells? Root hair cells are underground and don't perform photosynthesis. Therefore, they lack the organelle needed for it. So the answer is chloroplasts. D. Write down one function of a root hair cell. Its large surface area, from the root hair, is adapted for one primary job. So the answer, to absorb water and mineral ions, nutrients from the soil. To answer this question you need to know the specialization of each cell. Absorbs water and mineral salts. This is the job of a root hair cell. Contracts to cause movement. This is the job of a muscle cell. Transports oxygen. This is the job of a red blood cell. Uses light energy to make food. This is photosynthesis, the job of a palisade cell. A. Name the structure labeled X. To identify the missing organelle in the diagram based on the labels provided. Look at what's already labeled: nucleus, cell membrane, vacuole, cytoplasm. The most common plant cell organelle missing from this list is the cell wall. The cell. The answer is cell wall. B. Safia cannot be sure whether the cell is animal or plant. Use the information from the diagram to explain why. You must explain that the labeled structures are common to both plant and animal cells. But there is one feature that classify it. How to answer? 1. List the structures shown. 2. State that these are found in both cell types. Answer. The diagram shows a nucleus, cell membrane, vacuole, and cytoplasm, which are found in both animal and plant cells. However, it does show a cell wall, which would confirm it is a plant cell. A. Which three structures, labeled in the diagram, are not in an animal cell? Simply list the three organelles that plant cells have but animal cells do not. Look at the labels: nucleus, cell membrane, cell wall, chloroplast, vacuole, cytoplasm. Pick the three that are plant only. The answer is cell wall, chloroplast, large permanent, vacuole. B. Name the part of the cell in which photosynthesis takes place. This is a direct question about the function of an organelle. The organelle that contains chlorophyll to capture light energy. The answer is chloroplast. A. Write down the letters of the 4 animal cells. Identify which cells are animal cells by looking for the absence of plant cell features. Look for cells that have no cell wall and lack chloroplasts. They won't be green. Cells B, E, D and F fit this description. Cell A has both cell wall and chloroplast and cell C has a cell wall. The answer is B, E, D, F. B. Write down 2 reasons why these cells are animal cells and not plant cells. State the visual clues you used to decide. Use the key differences between plant and animal cells. The answer is, they do not have a cell wall. They do not have chloroplasts. The question is asking you to rank the 4 terms, organ system, organ, tissue, and cell, based on their size and complexity, from the largest, most complex to the smallest, simplest. This tests your understanding of the hierarchy of biological structures, which is a key concept in biology. The correct order is always organ system, organ, tissue, cell. Before answering the question, you need to recall the definitions. Cell is the basic unit of life. Tissue is a group of similar cells working together. Organ is a group of different tissues working together. Organ system is a group of organs working together. Draw a line from group of cells to the diagram showing many identical cells, group of tissues, to the diagram showing a group of different cell types together, group of organs working together to the diagram showing several different organs. Thank you.